Well, let me tell you something, brother. This might be the best OG Kush I've ever had. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. You just said a mouthful, brother. I'm higher than helicopter, but listen though, Hulkster. Younglurch has been running his mouth on that podcast. Blaze the BingoHall podcast needs to show some respect to the veterans, brother. I say we run in there and show Younglurch and his guest just exactly who the OGs of this game are, What you gonna do, Blaze the BingoHall podcast, when the Macho Man and the Hulkster run wild on you? Ooh, yeah. Give me like 10 minutes, though, because I'm really, really stoned. Oh, yeah.
Welcome in, everyone, for a very, very special episode of Blaze the BingoHall. I always say that, but this is a very special episode for me personally. Don't worry about Macho Man or Hulk Hogan. We got Big Swole in the house today. Yeah. Nobody's coming in and doing a run-in on us today. Please welcome in Aerial Hall. Some of you may recognize her from AEW. I like to look at you as an original. I don't know if you are technically original, but no. I always, in my head, that's how I look at it.
No, I wasn't original, but, close, real close.
One of the OGs. We can put it that way, right?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Just for the record, it's Johnson.
I'm sorry.
Right. It's okay.
I'm sorry. We know you are married to Cedric Alexander. Some of you may know him as well as a fellow wrestler. But you have a hell of a background. You have very, very many titles that you have had. Not like physical titles, but military background, U.S. Air Force veteran, pro wrestler in AEW, Crohn's advocate, entrepreneur, music artist, and then wife, but most importantly, mother. So those are a lot of titles to carry on. How do you find yourself juggling all that on a day-to-day?
It's just really just a matter of prioritizing each one, knowing that everything is important because I'm placing the importance on it, and remembering that, so I'm making time for Odessa, I'm making time for Cedric, I'm making time for things that I want to do,
Yeah, sometimes
making it equal.
Yeah, prioritizing definitely can you can find yourself running yourself ragged sometimes, and maybe putting too much of your time in one batch of eggs versus the other or something like that, and you definitely can wear yourself thin. And I like I said, thank you for coming on. And today we're going to talk about it all. And one of the things I want to talk about first is your journey with Crohn's disease. I myself suffer from Crohn's disease as well. And like I was telling you before we started recording, I know you probably feel the same way. There's not many people that you actually get to meet or talk to that have Crohn's. And then when you do, not everyone is exactly the same. It's not a cookie cutter disease, so to say, is how it was put to me. And once I was told that, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, because you could have so much different going on as far as symptoms than I could. So let's start with that. Some of you who don't know, Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease that affects the lining of your digestive tract. It can affect anywhere from your mouth all the way basically down to your butt. But how old were you when you first got diagnosed with Crohn's?
I was 18.
Okay. And then it kind of came abruptly for you from what I understand and what I know about your story. Do you mind sharing how that came about, how you had to have emergency surgery?
Of course. So I was getting sick, and this was around 2012. I'm not 2012. Where am I? Around 2007.
I know, I'm terrible with years.
Right. I'm like, oh gosh, how long ago was that? How old am I? But it was around 2007. I remember it was in October, and I lost 30 pounds within that month. And I was the smallest I've ever been. I was 106 pounds, like soaking wet. And I was just going through college, going through life. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. Everything's good. And then I remember going to see the doctor, and she was like, "Oh, you just have ulcers. We'll just set something up, and you'll be fine." And I knew something was up because I had my friend Sarah drive me there because I didn't feel well at all. And then I remember going to the bathroom and nothing but blood was coming out. And still at that moment, I'm so delirious and that I'm just like, I'm so sleepy. I need to,
I'm good. Yeah.
oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. I need to just go home and relax. I get home and I use the bathroom again. And my dad, who's a preacher, he came in and he was like, "You look like death." And him saying that, I was just like, okay, I'm sleepy. I'm going to lay down. And my mom, she asked me once, she's like, "You want to go to the hospital?" I was like, "No." She's like, "You want to go to the hospital?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Are you sure, Ariel, you want to go to the hospital?" I was like, "Fine. Stop bothering me about it." And we get in the car, and I immediately lay down because, again, I'm bone tired. I'm gone. And I remember going through like this experience, feel like I'm going through like this tunnel and it's hot and just like I couldn't feel like I was close to them. Like I didn't feel like I was still here. I felt like I was like somewhere in between because my body was completely shutting down. And once we got to the hospital, um, my mom actually just told me a couple weeks ago because I didn't even know. I was so dehydrated that they had to put an IV in my temple. Like
Holy
they
crap.
couldn't
I
they
never even
couldn't
heard
get
of
it
that one.
right. And like she literally just told me, like I said, a couple weeks ago, we were at a family event, and I was like, "What? I've never heard that part of the story. Like, are you serious?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll never forget it. They just kept trying to get you." My sister, she's a nurse. She tried.
They couldn't get any of your
Nobody,
veins.
they couldn't
Yeah.
get any veins. And then the
That's
doctor was just like,
crazy.
"We just gotta go to the temple." And here I
That'd be
am.
wild looking. That'd be wild
Right. I was like, and no one thought to take a picture. Like, "Oh, your baby's dying. Let me one for the
Right.
gram." But they did a CT scan and they were like, "Your small intestines is swallowing your large intestines." And they were like, "You have less than 30 minutes. She has less than 30 minutes. We have to do this emergency surgery. We think it's Crohn's disease. Does anybody in your family have that?" My mom's like, "No."
They
And
always say that.
right. And then the doctor had to sit down with my mom. Was like, "She does have a father." And she's like, "Right." So she gets on the phone and she's like, "Stanley, XYZ, do you know anything about Crohn's?" He's like, "No, I'll ask around." And
Right.
it turns out it was my only person was my great aunt Auntie Lean on my grandfather's side that has it. And after the surgery, they go in, they take a foot and a half of my intestines out, and they're like, "It was really close, and you do have Crohn's disease, and this is how you're going to live your life." And I was like, "Okay, this is just wonderful. I have a
No
catheter
choice.
down there, and I have this other one coming out for the bile." And actually, right then and there was when I found out I was allergic to latex. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not
thankfully,
good.
yeah, I'm glad I found out that way. A
Yeah.
hospital is the safest way.
I tried to persuade my doctor because I had to get surgery as well. I had to try to persuade him not to catheter me. That was like my most
Oh,
I was trying to just don't. I'll be good. Like, you know what I mean? And then even afterwards, it's like get it out because they actually, I guess it wasn't positioned right, so it wasn't draining properly. So
oh,
it was just like everything was just sitting on my bladder, and it felt like an elephant was just like sitting on my stomach.
mm,
And the nurse, she came over and drained it. And when she drained it, I was just like, all right, I'm done. Like, take it out, whatever you got to do. Like, we got to ask the doctor. And once they finally asked the doctor, like, he can take it out, but he's going to have to pee by like 1 o'clock.
mm,
And 1 o'clock came and I still hadn't peed. And I was in the bathroom, like, all right, come on. We got to do this. We got to do this. Because if I didn't pee, they were going to then manually catheter me. So
oh,
I was like, oh, hell no, we're not doing that. Like, not going that way.
absolutely not.
Yeah, I was just like, ugh. So that was
Ooh,
the first time I had that. I was like, yeah, you're gonna cut out my stuff. You're gonna cut out my intestines. You're gonna cut out this. But let's not do the catheter. He's like, that's what you're worried about. I'm like, yeah, like I just ugh, like I still remember him pulling it out. Not cool. But yeah, that's terrible for you that you're found out that you're allergic, and that probably made things even worse with your emergency surgery, finding out that you have current all this everything at one time. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's wild. And like you said, so of course you said a great aunt that had Crohn's.
Yes, yes, she has Crohn's. It's not as severe as mine was. Mine diagnosis, they said, was toxic megacolon, which is, I guess, the highest you can get with Crohn's
Okay.
disease. And I was like, great, overachieving.
Yeah.
And right, so but hers is very easy to manage.
Yeah,
So
they always go for that, like, hey, do you know any family members? It's like I didn't even know what this was until I got diagnosed with it. And it's like then
right,
you're trying to weed through family members, and same kind of thing. Like for me, it was like a great grandmother that may or may not have had IBD, but it's like that's not Crohn's, but it's still in
right.
the family. So it's like that's kind of the closest to it. Other than that, I had no idea what it was before I got diagnosed. So
Mm.
it's kind of crazy. But did you have symptoms before you led to losing the weight and everything like that, or was it just like the weight loss was probably your first inclination? Is hey, maybe something's not right, and then obviously,
Mhm.
like you said, the blood loss.
No, the weight loss was really it. Like I would have like stomach cramps and stuff, and I'm just, push those off like, oh, it's just cramps.
Food or
And
yeah.
right, so I was scarfing down McDonald's trying to like regain the weight. And of course that was just making it worse because red meat always makes everything worse.
Yeah, I'm still even now trying to figure out what works best for me.
Mm,
Um, I do eat red meat, but there's certain things that like again, it's not cookie cutter. I feel like certain things work for certain people, and it just
right.
depends on I guess what you can tolerate and what you can't tolerate.
Hmm.
Um, but when you had your surgery, did they cut out all the bad area of your intestine and then just do a bowel resection, or did you have an ileostomy bag?
No, they did a bowel resection. They
Okay.
were able to do that.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
were they were definitely worried that it would have to have a colostomy bag, but
Yeah. Yeah. That was always like my worst fear. Like
mm,
once I started to kind of understand more about Crohn's as I got older and was just like, hey, if I have to go that route, I was just honestly, I would just be like, hey, just kill me. But it's like, honestly, I got put in that position when I got diagnosed. And I'll get to
hmm,
that in a minute, but it's just like when you have to make that decision, it's like life or death. You got too much
yeah,
to live for, you know what I mean? So it kind of
hmm.
puts things in perspective for you. But when you had your surgery, what was like your treatment plan for you after that? I know that had to be like it's a complete change for your body to have to relearn, I guess how your insides and what you can take in and what you can't because you just had a whole foot of your
Hmm.
intestine taken out. So what was that like? Like, do you remember a lot of the recovery? I'm sure it was hard, getting
Yeah,
around and stuff. And I guess your
it
parents
was.
probably helped you there in that time.
Yeah, it was tough. I remember having a nurse come in because
Yeah.
2 weeks after that surgery, I had an abscess which needed
Mhm.
to be drained. And so she had to come in and take it out and repack it every single day. And so it was very painful, very excruciating. And I remember I had to learn how to walk upright again for the second time in my life. Well, excuse me, third, for the third time in my life, because the stitches that were, the staples and stuff that were there, like they made me have a hunch when I came
Mhm.
out of the hospital. So it was definitely taxing and trying. And I was like, I didn't know how I was going to make it out of experiencing something like that.
When you're recovering, is there like a I guess maintenance type of medicine that they would put you on in case preventing Crohn's from coming back, or did they feel like they cut everything out of you at that time?
I was on a lot of antibiotics. I remember, of course, Flagyl. I was on a lot of Flagyl, so it was a antibacterial medicine and antibiotic. And I hated doing that because at one time I was on like maybe 15 pills a day.
They
You
probably
know,
put you on a bunch of steroids and stuff too,
yeah,
right?
steroids and Pentasa.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
on that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they throw the steroids at you, like, and they'll even tell you like this is just basically a band-aid. So it'll help
Hmm.
you feel better for right now, give you your appetite back and everything else like that. But then what it's actually doing to your body, like I feel like they said I have osteoporosis now, basically because of the steroids, all the years of steroids. I'm just like, oh great, just add that to the list of stuff that you know what I
Right.
mean. They just pile on top of you. It's like, oh, you have a probability of a fracture in the next 10, 11 years. It's like, I've never broke a bone in my life, but it's like, now I have to worry about being like, it's like, come on, like, but you know how it goes. They just try to like treat us like guinea pigs and see
Yeah.
if
It's just
anything sticks.
anything sticks.
Yep.
That's so true.
Did you find yourself having any stubbornness like after like say like your surgery, you recovered and like dealing with medicine and stuff like that? Being at a young age, I know I did. I kind of like, if I could give any advice to anyone who's just finding out that you're being diagnosed with something like Crohn's or in the family,
Hmm.
like take it serious. No matter how severe your case is, take it serious. Because I feel like I personally didn't at the beginning and kind of neglected my body, so to say, with like the food and the soda
Hmm.
and drinking alcohol and all these things that when you find out more research, it's like these are the worst things you could do to your body with this disease. Did you have any of that kind of stubbornness like in the early years maybe?
Yeah, I was stubborn for a very long time. I definitely didn't want to believe it. I didn't
Same.
want to change at all. Yeah, I was very headstrong, very like, oh, whatever. I'm just continuing to live my life. It's not going to stop me type thing. Very, very immature. Very
Yeah.
immature about it.
Yeah, I was in the mindset of I'm 19 because I got diagnosed at 19. Uh
Mm,
why should I have to take medicine every day of my life? Why should I have to do this? Like, why, what is, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know anything about
yeah.
Crohn's, just like whatever. Like, I had years leading up to finding out what the actual diagnosis was. But then once I got it, it was just like, what is this? You know what I mean? So it's just
Hmm.
like, I'll just keep on moving along. But that was probably just making things worse in the long run when you look back and think of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I was the
so
same way.
yeah. Has your so now treatment is, are you taking medicine or anything like that, or are you
Mm.
kind of in like a remission type of stage, so to say? I know it can, I guess it can come back whenever.
Uh, no, yeah, I'm taking Stellara right now.
Okay. Is that
Yeah,
like
I
that's
was.
self-administered?
Hmm. Yeah, so
Okay.
I inject myself every 6 weeks.
Is that doing pretty good for
Which
you?
it's doing pretty good. I wish I could go back to Remicade, even though Remicade just is so taxing.
Yeah.
Those infusion days are brutal.
Yeah, I just had mine yesterday.
Mm,
Um hold on once. Yeah, I just had my infusion yesterday. About 2 hours sitting there, and I get it every 8 weeks.
mhm,
And I think I was telling you before through messages, like I like it a little bit better just because of course, when you're taking an oral medicine, you're not really absorbing that much, especially with Crohn's.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know. You don't have to worry about not forgetting to take your You forgot to take your medicine today. Like, oh, now I'm going to feel like crap today or the next day or what have you. So at least if you're on track with your infusions, I think they're kind of a better route.
mhm,
Um, but I guess again, it all depends on what works for you. I feel like when they give me like Benadryl beforehand, that's like the worst part about it because like by the end of the infusion, I'm like nodded out asleep over here, and they're like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's just like the last half here, just like the Benadryl kicks in, and you're just like gone." On top
right,
of obviously the infusion doing what it does to your body, but
mhm,
um, yeah, I don't know. I know there's so many different things out there. Like you said, Pentaz. I've been on azathioprine, so many different things that
yeah.
I guess you just gotta,
Humira, uh,
yeah.
Humira was the worst.
See, I did that. They put me on that before my surgery. Um, I couldn't stick myself with it. I couldn't come to do it. So I
You
had my
couldn't do
wife
it.
do it. Yeah, I had her do it in my leg. I feel like the very first one worked. And then it was like I felt great. I was like, all right, maybe this is the new drug that's gonna keep me going. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I was like zero energy, like no hope, nothing. This was before about to go get surgery. And it was like, all right, maybe this is gonna work. And then it was just like the next one, nothing. And then I don't know if my body just like rejected it or got used to it or what, but it just didn't work after that. So we went to surgery not too much longer after that. But tell me about your diet. Like what can you tolerate? What can you handle? What things have you had to cut out that you miss? Because like for me, like I know coffee, it can go either way. Like I do like coffee, but like if I go to OD on coffee, it's going to be a bad case. You know, same thing with like dairy. Peanuts are not good. Popcorn's horrible. Soda I had to cut out. Like I'm sure like a lot of that stuff for you too.
Oh yeah,
All the good stuff.
At one point I had to take out all of the good stuff. But I recently just maybe like a year or so started like eating for my blood type.
Okay.
So I eat a lot of. So when I do eat meat, it's turkey, or a fish, and that's usually the only type of meat that I go around. It's turkey based or fish based. So I'm non-dairy as far as cow products. So no cheese, no butter, no red meat or anything like that. I do use like avocado oil based, like plant-based butter and stuff like that. So really, it was all about substituting for me, and
finding
things that I like, and the alternatives and things that I can cook. So really, I'm not lacking in anything because I cook everything at home anyway. So like I have my own recipe for mac and cheese and my own things for like my cakes and stuff like that. And once I started making everything from scratch, it just became easier to like have
you have your routine of what works and what doesn't, what works well for you. That's what I need to find is like you said, the alternatives, because I don't have a problem like switching out an alternative, but like I guess like if it doesn't taste that good, that's probably I guess the biggest thing is like if I can find something that works just as good, like I'll go for it. But I guess I'm a little bit hard-headed when it comes to that. Yeah,
I need to make a list because like I've tried. When I say I've tried everything, I've went through like the whole list of all the alternatives to everything dairy and or like peanuts and like all this stuff, ice cream. Like I've done it all.
Yeah,
and I'm my favorites.
And I'm sure that gets like you get wore out doing it because like again the guinea pig thing, like it's like okay, yeah, I can try to find alternatives, but then you play that game of all right, well, what if this one jacks me up for the rest of the day and I don't want to have to deal with that? So it's like then you kind of like stop even trying to like even want to try other things because you're like I don't want to roll the dice on what that's going to do. So then you play in the small little field of I know I'll eat this every day. This will be the same feeling every time. Like I get like that. So yeah, I've had to cut a lot of things out that I like is too, like, obviously you can't eat fast food all the time. And if you do it every once in a while type deal, but onions are a complete no for me. Like I can't handle like because of the gas. I was someone that was eating onions all the time. Like I eat them on hot dogs, burgers, whatever, raw, cooked, it doesn't matter. And then like they were telling me, and like one of the dietitians were saying, like the gas that it emits from the onions in your stomach is what gives you a lot of the bloating and the indigestion from them. So I try to like replace them with like cooked like green peppers or red peppers or something like that. It's kind of like the same kind of substance or texture, but obviously not the taste. But yeah, I love onions, but it does not treat me well. Same thing with like popcorn, and obviously sugar is the
all onions is like red onions as well. Like
I feel like the red onions are even more potent sometimes. But white ones and yellow ones definitely jack me up for sure. But I mean cheesesteaks, like all that, like raw fried onions, like I had to cut it all out. Not good.
Oh wow.
I love that stuff. But so I know you're big on exercise. Is that something that helps you on your day to day, especially with having Crohn's? I know that it can help eliminate a lot of the like inflammation probably going on in your body. Do you find that that's something that helps keeps you active and keeps things away from going down a bad route with like inflammation and stuff?
Yes, it actually does. Just as long as I keep myself moving. I know like there's some days where it's just painful or I'll feel a certain way, but I was like, as long as I am comfortable in the movement as far as working out. So like my whole workout regimen has completely changed. So I'm not like lifting heavy or anything like that anymore. I'm more calisthenics based, and like, but just body movement and Pilates and like going to do Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, things that like keep me active in that aspect
Yeah, just
versus
keep the body
working and
moving.
working. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I have days like that for sure, where it's like you don't even want to get out of bed sometimes, where it's just like it just feels like everything's
Mhm.
just weighing you down. It's like,
Right.
but do you have any like way to manage like inflammation in your gut? Do you take anything for that, or just, I guess, good diet, exercise, and
Lots of teas.
okay. I'm a big fan
So
of tea. I like tea.
yeah. So yeah, lots of teas. So I drink a lot of like green tea, moringa. I do like a liver detox tea. And I can do a digestive detox tea, spearmint,
Do you do like
mugwort,
chamomile or anything like that?
yeah, chamomile. Like I do a lot of the red raspberry leaf tea. Like I make a lot of tea and like other like turmeric based drinks
Yeah,
as well.
turmeric's
Turmeric
definitely
is
good. I
my
know
favorite.
ginger's good too.
Hmm. And like I do like mullein tea and mugwort, which is like an expellant. So it just gets everything out, all the mucus. And so
Yeah, all the nastiness out of you.
hello. Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand about Crohn's that it's a silent disease. Um, and sometimes it can be hurtful when people say like, "Oh, you're skinny," or "Oh, you don't look good," or whatever. But like a lot of people don't really understand the struggle that you're going through. Um, I personally have dealt with that. Something I deal with on a daily. Like I look at myself as skinny now. Like I wish I could be like 200 plus pounds, but it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm also very tall, so I'm like 6'6". So it's like
Oh.
me being skinny, and then and then 6'6". It's like,
Oh man.
it's like you look like there's something going on there, but it's like
Mm.
it's something you got to deal with. Like my weight fluctuates up and down, but I'm sure that's something that like you've dealt with. And I've seen a post on your Instagram. I'm gonna pull it up, and it was basically talking about the same thing. Like you don't look
Mm.
sick, having an invisible disease. There's no walk in the park. There are some hard days and nights where I endure in silence. Living with Crohn's has been a thorn in my side, but honestly, I wouldn't be where I am without God's grace. His grace is sufficient, and even though I suffer, I know it's all worth it. I'm living my dream as best as I can. I implore you to do the same, push through, remove I can't statements, and always keep smiling. So
Yeah.
I felt that was very inspirational, especially because I've dealt with that same interactions
Mhm.
with people, and people had like I didn't know what Crohn's was, so I mean I don't expect people to understand, but the silent disease thing is something that not just with Crohn's, there's so many other diseases out there that people suffer from that you just don't know.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if that was even a question. I'm just rambling here, but like, yeah, I guess that you understand where I'm coming from with that, and
Mhm.
you've probably dealt with those types of interactions before.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
why are you so tired? Why are you laying down? Why are you this? Why are you that? Why don't you want to eat? It's
Mhm.
like you know, then you have to explain yourself every couple of minutes. So
Right. Why don't you want
it's
to go out? Like, look, I am.
I'm
It's
beat.
it's
I'm
exhausting.
beat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's exhausting.
yeah, yeah.
It really is.
And similar to your story, um, my story was I was 19 when I was formally diagnosed with Crohn's. I would say 17, I can remember having some sort of symptoms. I was
Mhm.
actually working at McDonald's, so I was eating the McDonald's all the time too. So that wasn't helping. And I was partying with my friends and stuff like that. Drinking, smoking, and
Mhm.
stuff. But I thought that like maybe that's what was making me sick. Like, oh, I'm throwing up, and my stomach's messed up, and I was losing weight, and I was like, maybe I don't know what's going on, but something wasn't right. I felt like it was like maybe it's the fast food, because it'd be like sometimes I'd eat this, I'd be fine. Sometimes I'd eat the same thing, not fine. So it was like it kept getting worse and worse and worse. Um, by the time I was 19, I pretty much couldn't take it anymore. As far as the symptoms I was dealing with, it was like a lot of constipation, a lot of stomach cramps, a lot of just like, again, weight
Mhm.
loss, and just like pain, and not knowing what's going on. So of course, they have to run a million tests on you like a guinea pig. They want to do blood tests, this test, scans, whatever. Finally, the last option is colonoscopy. They do that. As soon as I wake up, yep, you have Crohn's disease. I'm like, no idea what that is. I'm sure that was probably an option they had told me going into this, but I had no idea what it was. I guess it was good to find out, like I had said, earlier, like it was good to kind of have that peace of mind. But then again, I really didn't understand what I was getting myself into or what was going on. All I was really worried about that time was leaving to go get a pit beef sandwich that I told my mom, like, hey, we're going to Beefalo Bob's after this and getting the sandwich. I mean, I just did this prep for the past 24 hours and I'm starving, you know what I mean? So It's like, that's all I was worried about. And they put me on a Muran at the time, which is also azathioprine, which is a very strong drug. I took that every day for many, many years, along with steroids and stuff. And I felt like that even contributed more to like weight loss and like just replenishing anything in your body. Again, not really doing much research on the disease, but just like, hey, like taking this and still, going out and drinking and whatever else on the weekends. And it was just like, this is more than just like, normal wear from partying or whatever else. This is like, my body is not feeling right. Like, and I feel like enough of that where it's just like, all right, I got to get serious about like my diet and everything else. And I started to like cut back on things and do more research, like cutting out sugar and things that obviously I knew were not doing well with me. But, I kept on going and probably, this was probably three or so years ago. I was working in the cannabis industry and I was delivering at the time. So I was working in Maryland. So I would work 16, 18 hours days. And I was the only delivery guy for the whole state. And I would get back, be the one to lock up the grow and come back in the morning. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And I had told my boss, like, I had just got like so ran down. I had pulled over on the side of the road before like one of my last stops and like, hey, like, I'm like having trouble like getting the stuff into the dispensary. Like I can barely like breathe. Like I'm out of breath. Like I just feel that fatigued. Like I think I need a week or so or a couple of days just to like chill at home, let my body rest, and then I'll be good. And that's just so it's like, I just need to chill a little bit. Like I'm just worn out. Crohn just got me feeling bad. She was super cool. Like, yeah, honey, whatever you need, like look out for me, like take your time. We'll find someone to replace you. A week turned into basically not coming back anytime soon. It took a turn for its worse. Like I got super sick, lost all this weight, was basically just laying in bed, couldn't get out of bed. That's where I said my wife was giving me the Humira shot. I had no energy, no zest for life, no nothing. Like I was basically tapped out. Like it was like it was terrible. Like I just had nothing to give. And it was because also my hemoglobin level was so low that it was just like, I physically just did not have that energy to do anything. Like I would get up if I could, this is the way I look at it. If I could get up, get in the shower, change my clothes, get down the steps and lay on the couch for the rest of the day, I had a successful day. And that's what my life was consisted of at that point. So I went to the hospital. They ran a bunch of tests. They put me in ICU. Weren't sure what was going to happen. They were giving me fentanyl in there through IV. Basically anything kind of trying to just keep me comfortable. And they were like, we don't know what to do. I don't think you need surgery. I don't think it's a blockage, but we're going to send you to Morgantown University, which is where there's a specialist for Crohn's or GI specialist there. And I went there. Same thing, about a week's worth of tests, and it's like, you're so depleted. I was down to 110 pounds. This is my first time sharing this story openly. And I thought no better person to share it with than you, just because, again, fellow crony. But this is a picture that I took of myself in the hospital ride, 2.5 hours to Morgantown, that they had to take me in the ambulance. So this is how bad off I was. Yeah. Like straight skeleton. Like, and then you can see like long hair, because that's like I said, laying in bed, like I just didn't care anymore. I just completely And 110 pounds is what I was down to at 6'6". Yeah. And basically, so they did a week's worth of tests. I'm like, doing the CT scans, like tears running down my eyes because I can't stay still long enough for them to do the scan. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, hold, breathe, hold your breath, whatever it is. It's like, I couldn't do it. I'm just like shaking and crying. I'm just like, this is so painful. So finally, the surgeon comes in. He walks in and like immediately he's just like, hey, this is what you got going on. Like, you need surgery like yesterday. And I'm just like, oh man, like that wasn't what I was expecting. I was like expecting like you guys are going to find like some different medicine. Hey, try this, blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, that is an option. He goes, but like you've done before, like we could give you this medicine. It may or may not work. And then, we're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. He goes, you need surgery like as in yesterday, like as in it's so bad that it was 4th of July weekend that weekend. And he said that he was off, but he would be willing to come in to do the surgery because that's how bad I needed it. So he's just trying to like put it in perspective for me, like how bad I was. He was like, it was just dark, gloomy when he walked into the room. So I told him, I'm like, I need like some time to think about this. Like, and it sounds wild, like even me saying this, like how stupid of me to say, like, I need time to think about this. But like, I just felt like it was such a major thing to think about. I had need it done. Like, again, they had to take a foot of my small intestine, a piece of my colon. And then they also took my appendix out while they were in there. And I was a little bit butthurt about that. And I said, why'd you take that? They're like, why are you even mad about that? I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, you didn't need to take it. They're like, hey, well, you don't need it. So we just did it while we were in there. I was like, okay, I guess, like, whatever. But he was like, yeah, you need all this stuff taken out. And like, basically, we're going to cut that out of you. You're going to get an ileostomy bag. And then you're going to have that for about a year. And then hopefully if everything goes right, then we can take the bag off, do another surgery where we reconnect your bowels together. And then you'll be back to a normal life. But basically he's like, your quality of life that you have now, it's no quality of life. And I was like, I completely agree with you. Like, I have no zest for life. Like, I'm miserable. Like, I didn't want to be around anybody. Like, even my kids, like, I just had nothing to give to anybody. Like, it was just, I was done. But that was the only thing that like kept me going when it came down to it. If it was my son, I was like, I have a little boy and I can't let him down. And, I have to get this surgery because I got to be there for him. You know what I mean? But I think if it weren't for him, I probably would have just been like, you know what, give me the medicine and I'll just go that route because it was crazy. Like, the surgery, like, yeah, like I spent a month in the hospital, 4th of July, Father's Day, all that in the hospital. Like it was craziness. Like, and this is actually my bag here. This is a little gruesome, not gruesome, but I'm sure you've probably seen it all. But this is me with my ileostomy bag. And you can see just the difference in like, I even weighed more there than I do now. And I can see it like,
I was like, I see this.
Yeah.
Like, you look full.
I mean, I literally blew up. Like, it was like, oh, you can eat anything you want and you can do anything you want. And it was like my first, I guess my thing was like, I don't want to like I told you before, I'd rather die. Right. But it was like when I got given that option and I had to look death in its face, it was like, hey, what are you going to do? Your whole mindset is just like, well, I got too much to live for. So you got to make that decision. And it's a wild thing to have to do. But the bag, crazy enough, it gave me my life back. And as you can see, like I blew up, like my weight was good. But I feel like if I could go back now, I would honestly probably keep the bag because I've had the bowel resection and like, I'm not in pain like I was on a day to day. Like I don't have that kind of pain anymore, but I still suffer with not being able to gain weight, still struggle with symptoms and kind of like when you said your body had to relearn everything again earlier when you had to learn how to rewalk. Same thing with me. Like I had when they redid the bowel section, like I'm sure you probably have similar type of scar, but here's like what it looked like for me. Yeah. and you're kind of like hunched over and like, like, so
Right.
yeah,
You're trying
it's,
to stretch that out, and you're like, dude, like,
yeah. And
it's
it's like, those first couple weeks, like having to go to the bathroom after having
mm-hmm.
a bag for a whole year, it was like, I was in there just like almost again in tears, like, oh, this is horrible. Like, why didn't I just keep the bag?
Right.
Because it was almost like, I felt like the social anxiety of like having that bag, like I would have it under and under my shirt, tucked in like into my pants a little bit, and no one would ever know. But at first it was like, oh my God, if this person bumps into me at the store or whatever, like, oh, like you would be so like insecure,
So,
like, oh,
yeah,
this,
self-conscious about it.
yeah. But once I got past that, I was good. Like I didn't care anymore. Like I had a fear of like going to the bathroom with it, but once I got past all that stuff, I was good. So that's why it's like, I don't want to say I have regrets, but it's like, I feel like I was doing so good with it, but you don't know because they prop you up with, hey, you'll get the bowel resection and then you'll have your life back. Well, it's like with the bag, it kind of gave me my life back and then some. So sorry to go very, very long-winded there with just rambling. But yeah, it's just
still get do you get like phantom pains in your scar?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Me too. Like where the stoma was, which is where the small intestine was coming out. Yes, I can feel like any type of air that comes through there. I can feel any type of movement that comes through there, and then any type of like phantom pain where it's like, especially after the surgery, I would wake up sometimes like, oh, because I would always have a fear of my bag leaking because that could happen because it's just like basically like bandaged on there, kind of, so to say, like it's like a Band-Aid kind of attached to you. So I would always have fear of my bag leaking out because that would happen from time to time where like you're asleep and you don't wake up and you don't know what's going on. And that could happen just by the way you're positioned sleeping or something. So I would have those of like, like, oh my God. But then it was like that kind of subsided for a while. But yeah, I still do get like weird phantom, like something's there, something's going on. Yeah, it's definitely different. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Anybody that has had to go through that, or again, if you're just experiencing Crohn's or IBD, colitis, anything within that diverticulitis in that family, like just take it serious. You don't want to have to get yourself down to the surgery route like I did, because I just feel like maybe if I had did a little bit more preventative maintenance, but maybe not. That's just me being hard on myself. Like maybe I wouldn't have had to go that route, but you never know. You don't know what's
same. I feel the exact same. If I've been like serious and steadfast with my actual health and cared more, then respected it more, respect the diagnosis more, definitely wouldn't have had all the troubles and all of the surgeries that I've had.
Yeah, and I feel like not to knock doctors, but I feel like their intentions are always different, and it isn't always based off of your best interests. Because like I've had doctors that always don't keep it 100 with me, but then I'll have like I'll go to like a nurse practitioner, and for instance, like I was on that azathioprine for a long time, and he's like, hey man, like you're in your early 20s, like do you plan on having kids? Like do you plan on having a family? I'm just like, I mean if it happens, it happens. And he's just like, okay. He's like, because if that's like an option for you and it's something that's on the table, like I wouldn't suggest you be on this medicine, because this is for someone that would be like 65 years old and like, it doesn't really matter, something like that, because, what it does is it actually was lowering, I guess, my sperm count because it depletes like everything in your body. So you're just like, so he switched me to Pentasa, and then it was basically a couple months later, my girl was pregnant. So it was like funny how things like that work. But that's just stuff you don't know. And it's like, they just throw any kind of medicine at you, whatever, and they don't care whether that affects you any which way. And I know that was something that you were told, that you couldn't have kids. And was that because of medicine, or was that because of them taking everything out of your insides in the surgery?
It was because of the Crohn's. It was because of the initial surgery. Yeah, they were just like, this is not going to happen for you. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right, well, I don't believe you guys have the last say so in that. So I'm listening, but I'm just going to let it bounce off of me, because I was like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And everything happens for a reason. And obviously you proved them wrong, right?
Right. I was like, no, I think the Most High has something to say about that. So I'm just going to, I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah. It gave you the ultimate blessing. But of course, I always look at like the prep for colonoscopies as the worst. Do you have to get a colonoscopy every 2 years as well?
Well, it was every year for me
Oh, okay.
because, like, yeah, I've had continuous problems for 18 years. So, like, they were like, you cannot miss this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, the next one that I know I'm actually going to get is really just to check and make sure that everything is good. Because last time they went, it was just like little baby ulcers.
Hmm.
So, and they were like, everything else looked great for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah, that's good. That's always good to hear. That's basically kind of like since my
Mhm.
surgery, everything's been good as far as labs and all that stuff and
Yeah,
what they
it's
want to
great.
see. Because they, for the most part, like cut everything out.
Hmm.
But again, the Remicade stuff, I guess, is just to prevent it all from, happening again.
Right.
But I always feel like the worst part of that is always the prep. Like there isn't really so much the colonoscopy because you'll be knocked out for that. It's
Hmm.
the prep beforehand, and I'm sure your time of from the beginning till now, you've seen how the preps have changed, and I would
Yeah.
assume you think they've gotten a little bit better, right? Than
There's
before, just a little bit.
a little bit, a little
Yeah,
bit. Like the
yeah,
soup prep is great.
yeah,
The soup prep version is very great. I don't like it when they make you do the Miralax, the
yeah. On
Miralax
top of
and
it, yeah,
Gatorade, and I'm like, no, because I could never finish it. I'd never finish my prep. It's
yeah,
just like I'm like it's not going down well,
yeah. They're.
and then the
I had.
pain of it afterwards.
I remember one of the original ones. It was like a blueberry flavor, but it was like
Mm,
gritty and
gritty, yeah,
nasty. Oh, I
yeah.
was like, this is so bad. It's either
Between
that or
that
like
and
a
the
lemon.
I like the one that it tasted like a Splenda lemonade. It was like back in my earlier surgeries. So yeah, I do not like the prep. I
Yeah,
definitely don't like that night before. And I definitely don't like the Propofol because that stuff stings. It burns.
yeah,
Even though it burns for that like little 15 seconds or so, but I'm still like clawing at myself like this stuff feels like acid going through my veins. I am not a fan.
yeah. It's I can't stand any of that stuff. It's always doom and gloom when I figure out this is the day. It's like I got to
Oh
do this
God.
all day. And some people I
Right.
see like I'm in a lot of Crohn's groups online, and like some people are like, oh, you can eat gummy bears, you can do this. I was like, I'm not playing around with that because, like, I know if I eat some gummy bears and I do this prep, I'm gonna go in there to be like, oh, we found this, or we can't do it, or we couldn't see. I'm just like, I'm not playing that
Exactly.
game. If I'm gonna do it,
Right.
I'm cleaning myself out, and y'all are gonna find
Hmm.
what you need to find or whatever. So,
I
um,
literally start with that week before, like no tomatoes, no corn, no
yeah,
none
I'll
of
get
that
it all
stuff.
out. Yeah,
Get it all out. Just get it
yeah,
out. I'm not doing that.
yeah,
And then I
yeah. I
make
don't.
it easier by not like heavy eating that week before, you
Yeah,
know.
because then it's not as hard on your body to get everything out because there's not much left in there
Right.
to to go. But
Gotta be smarter with this.
as far as like your cannabis experience, how has that helped
Mm,
you with Crohn's? Like, were you so someone like myself? Like, I had previous cannabis experience before I realized I had Crohn's because I started smoking because it was a social thing, and my friends, we're
right.
getting high, whatever, blah blah
Hmm.
blah. But then once you get older and you realize, hey, there's more that goes on with this plant and what it does medicinally for people, and how it can
Hmm.
actually help me personally with Crohn's and so many other ailments of people that people have out there.
Right.
Was that something you discovered like that helped combat your Crohn's issues or kind of like subside some of the issues?
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, cannabis was one of the major factors that got me off of like having narcotics and having like the not propofol, but the morphine pills and the hydrocodone and stuff like that. And so that's my pain management. My
Mm-hmm.
pain management is cannabis related, especially like the RSO drips and stuff like that, the
Yep.
tinctures, making eddies and stuff like that. Like that just helped me and helped pull me together, especially
Yeah.
like if I'm feeling a certain way or my appetite is gone because I could only eat certain things, which caused slight depression because I'm a foodie. Like
Yeah.
so, it's just
Same.
like
I'm a
so
fat
you
kid. I'm
just
a
have
fat
like
kid at heart.
yeah, like it just caused like this little post hoc thing because you can't have these certain foods and you're dealing with this illness, and then here comes cannabis like to like balance all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I first discovered that you like to partake when I had seen you put up an Instagram post. This might have been a few years ago, but you had a giant bag. It looked like you came out of the True Leaf dispensary,
Yeah.
and I was actually working at True
Yeah.
Leaf at the time. So when I seen that, I was like, "Oh, it's that big soul down there with the big bag of True Leaf goodies." You know what I mean? So, and then obviously I knew your story with Crohn's. I was like, "Oh, it only makes sense." You know what I mean? So, also I know you like what is it? Your method of consumption do you like? I know I've seen a bong that you like to, you get down with the bong. Is it, do you have any preference on what you like to use?
It depends on how I'm feeling. If it's high pain, I'm going straight bong first because I
Okay.
just need immediate ingestion. But usually I like little rollies, little raw cones. I make my own little bleezies, little blunts and stuff like that. That's usually how I like to go.
Do you
You
have any
know,
go-to strains that you like that you feel like work for
man,
you?
Mandarin orange.
Okay.
Mandarin orange is really good for me. So is uh, Nine Hammer.
9 pound
Yeah,
hammer.
9 pound. Yeah, nine
Yeah.
pound hammer. That is an excellent strain, especially at night where I'm just like I need to KO, and I don't
Yeah.
want to feel
Hit me
this
with the
pain.
9 pound
Yeah,
hammer.
exactly. Hit me with a 9 pound hammer.
Do you like to look for like certain terps that work for you as well? Like I know like
Ye-
myrcene is something that's really good for pain.
yes,
Um, so
pepper
I
based, lemon based,
yeah.
citrus based.
Hmm.
I can never pronounce them, but the lemon
Yeah.
ones, yeah,
Limonene.
lime
Yeah,
limonene. Okay.
yeah. There sometimes I say them wrong too, so don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
I'm like, all I know is that when I see what I see, I'm like, yep, that's the one.
There's a B caryophyllene. That's another
Mhm.
one that helps with inflammation. So if you ever see one that has high percentage in B caryophyllene and then
Mhm.
high percentage in myrcene, that
Yeah.
will be really good for like a knockout, chill, let your body rest, let the insides just chill out type of deal.
Mhm.
I kind of tend to stay away from sativas. Sometimes they get me too heady, but I feel like also they kind of get my insides kind of
Mhm.
like more active going, and I'm just like, I
Mhm.
don't really want that, you know what I mean? Because I just want to
Yeah.
kind of let things chill. So I kind of try to lean towards indicas. Do you think that you're more of an indica person as well, or
I yeah, indica and sometimes sativas. It just
okay?
depends on how I'm feeling. Usually when I do smoke though, I can't get high. Like it feels like I just go straight medicine first.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then if I do actually get high, that is a good day for me. But usually, no.
yeah, just getting back to even basically.
Yeah, just getting back to even.
Do you take? You said you mentioned RSO. Is that something you take as well? Because I
Mhm.
recently started taking that every day. Um, I take it in the morning and take it in the evening, and it just helps with me for nausea and helps the appetite a little bit more. And just I know it does so much for you, and I wish I could take more of it, but it is expensive, and
It
they
is.
require like you should take like a gram a day, but it's like God, I can't afford a gram a
It
day.
is expensive. They need to be charging arm and leg.
Have you ever tried to like do your own type of grow? I don't know where you're at or if it's legal there or not.
No,
Um,
I don't think it's legal here. I really haven't
okay,
tried.
yeah, because I
But
know
if
a
it
lot of
is, I think it'd be fun.
yeah, especially for like if you're into like the RSO, because that's what I want to do is like grow my own and then just use it, harvest it just for making the RSO oil, because
Mhm.
then I could have so many tinctures just on deck and not have to worry about
Right.
buying a gram a week or whatever it is that I'm getting. Prices are coming down, so it's not too bad. But that definitely helps with like flare ups in your appetite. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Big time.
outside of like your wrestling career and all the hats that you may wear, outside of being Big Swole, what do you typically find yourself up to on a regular day?
Well, honestly, I get up and I meditate or read my Bible and I have my tea and I partake and I kind of just get along with the day. So if it's like Tuesday or Thursday, I'm working out with my mom because I'm helping her get into shape. So she comes over and we work out together. And then I'll get started to like just duties around the house. really. I'm just like trying to fix up the house and decorate it differently. So we're just going through a whole top to bottom, kind
Moving
of like
everything around.
yeah, moving everything. Yeah,
I know what you're up
we're
to.
we're redecorating because I'm just like I don't like how this is looking. And I'm like I'm ready to change it. And so it's like okay.
Yeah. I know how that goes. Sometimes I can walk in the house and the couch and everything could be on one side of the room, and it's just
Yeah.
everything's
Oh,
complete change. It's like, how do you like it? It's like,
he
yeah,
comes
it's
over
good.
or something, and I'm like, look, I put these blackout curtains here because this is how I want to sleep in the
Yeah.
cold, in the dark.
Yes. The blackout curtains are a must. So once I got those, it changed the game because it's like that's even though sun comes in a little bit. If it's just moved, I'm like, God, I got the blackout curtains. What are you doing? Like, get out of here. Yeah, definitely have to have those.
Mhm.
But so you also you consider yourself a music artist, right?
Mm.
Like what you produce and you also sing as well.
Yes.
And you've produced music with Swerve Strickland as well, as
Mhm.
people may not know.
Yeah,
Do
and
you
Montezi.
are you're still working on music actively now?
Yes. I've been working on this LP album that like I wanted just to put out because I just feel creatively like you have to use your gifts no matter what it is. You know, I can't just pick one thing and sit down with it. Like I have to like hop like Tigger from like one thing to the next or whatever. But yes, I'm like getting these together because I want to make it and I want it to be like my personal project, not just based off of trends or anything like that, but just based off of what I like.
Your creative
So
outlet,
yeah,
your
my
creative
creative
passion.
output. So I that's why I like working like with him is because especially Montezi because he just allows me to flow and it's a respectful thing because he can be like, hey, I need a bar for this, and I'm like, okay, this is what I got, you know. And he's not like looking at me like, oh, you're just a newcomer, into music thing. He's looking at me like, oh, you're a creative.
Yeah, that's always. I feel like I've kind of found that creativeness back in me a little bit. I guess so to say is
Hmm.
where I'm trying to get at because it's like you kind of like don't you kind of like let that stuff kind of like you kind of push it down to try to like go among the day-to-day toll of
Yeah.
working and doing whatever it is you got to do to get through the day.
Hmm.
And then once you realize like just like starting this podcast so to say is like giving me a little bit of a creative outlet, and it's like it kind of gets you going a little bit because it's your passion, it's your outlet, so it's you. And when you're able to have something like that and be vulnerable and put yourself out there, it feels good when people actually like it and you get some feedback from you're like, oh, I thought nobody would like this. So I'm sure you've probably dealt with that as well as far as music, wrestling, and
Right.
many things. But that creative outlet to have, it's a good thing for people. Just even if no one's watching, but at least you're feeling that I guess you feel complete a little bit. I guess is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, because you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah. Are you
So
a big movie buff?
I am.
Okay, I kind
Yeah,
of
I
thought so.
love
I kind of thought
I
so
love
doing my
movies.
research, and
Yeah,
I know Are you a big Mean Girls fan?
I am.
My mom and my wife are big Mean Girls fans, and they always like are constantly talking to each other in the quotes and stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
yo, Regina, this and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I've seen one of your posts online with you posted up dressed up like I don't know what her character name was, but yeah, I thought so. And I heard you talk about movies a couple other times.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm a big movie person myself. What are some of your top movies that your go tos?
Um, I like Five Heartbeats.
Okay.
Um, I like Spice World. I love anything with like Denzel Washington.
Okay.
He's just like Training Day. My one of my favorite movies from him is Fallen. And
Fallen.
yeah, it's a, it's about he's a detective and he is trying to kind of capture this fallen angel, Aza- Azazel, and you can see like the spirit transferring from person to person with touch.
Mm.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen
yeah,
that one.
it's old school.
Yeah, I have
It's
to
very
check
old
that one.
school. Like I like Blank Man, so I like anything that
Blank Man. That's a funny one.
the Wayans family put out. Like I'm watching
Yeah.
100%. You
Hopefully
know,
that's true that they're gonna get another scary movie that it'll be theirs to do.
oh yeah, I hope they call like Anna and Regina and like the whole crew.
Yeah.
I think
I
that'd
love
be
those movies.
hilarious. Yeah, I love the in folk fabric. I like Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah, Pulp Fiction's great.
It's a classic.
Are you into like two of my favorites are Goodfellas? Are you into like mob movies or mafia movies or
Yeah.
anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
That Casino is another good one. Back to the Future is one of my favorites as well. Can't
Oh
go wrong
yeah,
with Back to the
the whole
Future.
series. The whole
Yeah,
series. I
all
love
three
the
of
whole
them.
series.
I
Yeah.
have all three of the posters up on my wall over here. So yeah, definitely
I
big.
love serious movies like Back to the Future, Harry Potter, anything with like sequels. I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Harry Potter series was cool. Even with my son, that we got into the Pirates of the Caribbean. That was a good one
Mm-hmm.
to watch all of those.
Mm.
Um, So besides music and movies, when are we going to see you back in wrestling? Will it be anytime soon? I know, like you said, you've changed a lot of like your regimen as far as like your exercise and what your goals are as far as what you want your body to look like. And that's just coming down to maintaining, I guess, like combating your disease and dealing with the day-to-day struggles of life. Are we going to see you back in the wrestling ring anytime soon?
As a wrestler, no.
No.
I want to hold out hope that maybe my body will, be okay with me going back. But I feel that ever since I've been healed, going backwards would be a detriment to my body because, I went out there in full blown active Crohn's disease and tore my body up every single time, like to the point of like rheumatoid arthritis was like in most of my joints. So I was like, I don't think I should be bumping, but if, Cedric says I should be a manager. So I'm kind of toying with the idea. And I know that like doing commentary for Ashe Wrestling is a lot of fun. And so being around it and doing like the Wale Mania events and stuff is enough for me right now.
Yeah, I actually have that right here. You were at Wale Mania recently. Hey, was that a good time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was it was a lot of fun. It was one of the first times where I got like the reins. So I literally had to do like this about 15 minutes, I feel like, of stand-up comedy because we had to stall because Jay wasn't there yet, Naomi wasn't there
By
yet.
time.
Right. It was like, Swole by time. And I was like, okay, well, time to do my bit, man. But outside of that, it was a fun night.
I always found that's why I found it pretty mind blowing when I found out that you had Crohn's, because it just is like, I know just on a day to day how I feel with the disease. And then to think that you're actually out there as a pro wrestler, taking bombs, getting hit, getting kicked in the stomach. That was one of the things I wanted to ask was like, did you ever have to tell someone that you were working that night? Like, hey man, like no kicks to the stomach, no punches to the stomach, like lay off the stomach, just punch me in the face or something. That's probably, did you have any of those types of conversations? Like,
yeah, like sometimes I would tell the girls, hey, be light with the stomach, especially after the pandemic started when I couldn't be on Remicade anymore because I had like caught pneumonia, and they were like, if you get on this medicine, you're dead. So I was like, okay, so I guess I'm just free balling out here with no medicine. And of course, my health went completely straight down. And so almost every match, I was like, hey, this is what's wrong with me today. We're trying to get through it, or hey, my ankle has swollen up, so I can't do this spot and this spot. Not a lot of running. Let's like switch it up to, more
a little slower
grappling.
pace.
Yeah, slower pace. And no butt bumps ever in my whole entire career. Like I was always terrified that some incident would happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I can't take that bump to my butt.
Yeah, I was like, I knew there had to be something to that because I was like, there's no way you're just going out there and just like, hey, whatever happens. Because I know like how sensitive it is to your gut, and it's like to take a kick or whatever. There
were times where I was just terrified to eat. Like I had to keep myself on a certain eating schedule, which is already bad because in my case, if I don't eat, cramps will immediately start.
Yeah.
It was just like get twisted up in knots. Like, hey, you haven't eaten, so what's up? And I know if I had to wrestle that night, so say I had to be out by, if it was a dark match or if it was on TV, 8 or 10, I know that 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I need to stop eating. That's just, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I would have to stop eating, no matter how hungry I get. Like, nope, we're just gonna have to push through, and
Just
no water or anything like an hour or so beforehand. Like, I had to keep myself on a schedule and on a routine.
Yeah, it sucks when you have to do that. I know, like, again, after surgeries, I had to be like, hey, I can't eat or drink at this time because I know I have a 2-hour trip to so-and-so, and I'm not trying to be going to the bathroom at no crazy gas station on the side of the road or nothing like that. Yeah. But wrestling, of course, can bring a lot of stress to your body, both mentally and physically. And with someone with Crohn's, as well as I know, that's one of the worst things that you can have happen is stress, because that just stress leads to inflammation, and then it just is like a snowball effect from there. How are you able to manage that, like on the road? Like, even that's another whole other thing on the road. Like, I'm sure that's got to be I'm sure you're probably always in a constant state of inflammation, is what I would assume. Yeah. It's got to be hard to deal with, and I'm sure it probably, I guess, took its toll after so long of dealing with that, right?
Yeah, like every single time I had to fly out somewhere or drive somewhere, it was always nervous energy was following me, it seems like, because
What ifs?
the what ifs of Crohn's disease. And it could be a array of anything, it could be my joint swelling up this time, or it could be, oh, my stomach is really, really bothering me. It's in knots and I'm in doubled over in pain, or it's just, diarrhea
Nerves.
for the whole, like for the whole entire week. And especially dealing with travel days, I would not eat. There's no eating.
Not even trying to risk it.
No, I'm not, because of the bathrooms. I was very particular about the bathrooms. You have
Same. I'm not trying.
you have a bowel disease, anything. You're just like, I need this bathroom to be a certain way, and I don't feel like covering, the whole entire toilet and then some just for it to flush on me, and I'm having an emergency. Like,
I got time for all that.
I really don't. I don't have time for that, and I don't have time for using the bathroom on the plane either.
No,
because I don't want to have anybody else experience or have to
go
through what I'm going through. Like, I apologize. Like, I'm having an issue right now.
Yeah,
so,
it sucks because I feel like I do that a lot too, and I don't know if it's my personality or part of the disease too, but like I try to overcompensate for other people for my own, like, and then I'm the one that's uncomfortable, and it's like, but it's like I've started to let a lot of that. Yeah, I've started to let a lot of that go though, because it's just like, as I'm getting older, more mature, it's just like I don't care anymore. Like, it's just like, hey, if you had to smell something, I had to get you know what I mean? Like, I had to go, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, it's just like,
I always carry a potpourri, a poop before you go type of thing, a little to go thing. Like, yep, that's just gonna be, my little secret weapon.
And I'm sure that you're like me, like you got all the all the routes, all the bathrooms on all the routes going in certain ways, and which ones are good, which ones we're not stopping at. Like, I'm sure you probably have it all mapped out.
I even have like a little card that I got from the Crohn's and Colitis Association, so explaining that I have Crohn's.
Oh,
and like asking
in case you get pulled over.
Yeah. In case I get pulled over, or if I'm like in a place where, that's only for staff, like, read this card. This is the official card. Like, I have
I got the real ones. I got the card.
Right.
But so you started wrestling in 2015, trained by George South. 2016, you made an appearance on Raw against Nia Jax. And then by 2019, you were signed by AEW and spent 2019 to 21 in AEW. So anyone out there, that's a huge, huge jump for someone just starting off in their wrestling career to then get a shot at WWE, and then also get signed by AEW, and basically pretty much right after the inception of when they started. That had to be a crazy couple of years of an experience. Like, did you have any wrestling experience before that, or were you just a fan, or is it just something you wanted to try? Or
I was just a fan. Like, I had it on my list of things to do when I made the list when I was young, but I was like, I want to do all these things. Wrestling was on there. And once I started dating Cedric, it was just became easier because High Spots was there. I was automatically going with him to training. I was like, no, I want to do this. And then whoop, ended up pregnant. So then of course I had to wait. And when I started, I was just like, I'm gonna do this. Like I don't care. I don't care what the doctors say. I don't care what anybody say. I'm gonna put my best foot forward and do this.
Yeah. You have kind of that. I'm very similar like that, where like if someone tells me I can't do it or prompts it up to me that way, it's almost like now I have to go do it. You know what I mean? I have to prove them wrong. You know, like I don't know what that is, but I can full-fledged understand exactly the mindset there.
Yeah, like I've gotten way better at not like taking the bait, but back then, definitely, if you told me I couldn't do something, I'm 100% doing it.
Yeah, because then sometimes like people might catch on to that, like how you are, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to tell her this," and then she's going to do the opposite, which is what I really want the whole time.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to get taken advantage of.
And your time in AEW, you actually got to wrestle against Megan Bain, which I didn't know until I was doing my research, and she's someone who is kind of being positioned as a big star now. Do you have any recollections of that match or time you spent with her back then?
Yeah, I remember that match. Yeah, I actually liked that match. The match was very interesting. Like I remember it was the first time that I wanted to do this Dean Malenko spot.
Okay.
the rollback, nip up, dunk one. Like, yeah, I was like, I'm doing this spot, this match. I was like, I believe in you and I know that we're going to kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's someone who's all over the place right now. And like I said, a lot of people might not even knew that she had a small spot, I guess, on Dark back in the day. But I was just wondering if you had any recollections of hers, which that's pretty cool that you got to do a spot with her back then that you wanted to knock out of the way.
Yeah, that was doing my little transformation time where I was like, all right, I gotta change my hair. You guys, I was like, this is a problem.
Yeah. Was the long hair in the way for you?
Yeah, well, it was great until it came to my neck. So the doctors in the back, they were just like, because I kept complaining. I was like, my neck really does hurt. Like you guys.
It was from your hair?
It was from my hair. My hair was too heavy. So going from like, because my hair was like down to here, with like, and then so I put the braids in, and that would be extra weight. And apparently it was compacting my neck. And so like my doctors was like, you got to get rid of the hair. He's like, you gotta grow it naturally or just keep it short. But because I was putting all that extra poundage on there and then doing it with the wrestling and the hairography, I was just like really contorting my neck.
Yeah, because
like,
that was like your whole entrance. You come out with the hair swinging.
Exactly. Yeah, I had we had a like little sit down meeting, and I remember I was talking to Brandy, and I was like, "Girl, I gotta get rid of this. I can't do this." I was like, my neck is, out of all the things that's wrong with me as far as Crohn's, I was like, I cannot have my neck have a problem on top of this. It's like this.
Right. We can just cut this one out real easy. You know what I mean? Right. Like just eliminate this one real quick.
So I was like, well, I'm gonna get some locks, and I was telling them, I was like, oh, my hair's down to here, so it shouldn't be that bad or difference or whatever. But I didn't account for shrinkage, of course. So I was just like, bump it. We're rocking, we're rolling with this now.
Yeah, it's crazy. You wouldn't think that you would have your neck issues would be caused by your hair, but then I guess once they pointed it out, you're just like, oh, it makes so much sense.
Right. I was like, what else is going on?
That's wild. So of course you're married to fellow wrestler Cedric Alexander. How is Cedric with being supportive during your struggles with Crohn's? Like I know he gets to see you at your best. He gets to see you at your worst. So I'm sure he has to be a strong support system for you, right?
Yeah. He's like my rock. He's so supportive, and he's always there, and he's always there to make me laugh, and like he's there to cook for me, even though he can't cook really, but he can make a little.
He tries,
something.
Right?
He can make a little something. I was very appreciative of his omelet making skills.
Is he like on top of you? Like my wife is like, hey, you need to eat. Like, hey, you're not eating. Hey, you're not doing this. Is he someone that's like that he notices like, hey, like she's not, because I you know how it is. Like you try to like I don't but the spouse always notices like, hey, like you ain't You ain't.
Hmm.
I see you cutting the corners over here.
Yeah, and he's always like, "Eat these fries. You eat so healthy. Eat this." Yeah,
Yeah,
he's very adamant about me eating. He's just like, "Come on, come on." I feel
yeah,
like sometimes he's trying to fatten me up. And
yeah.
actually, well, he is, because that's exactly what he says. He's like, here, here.
He trying to get thick swole.
Right, right. He's like, nope, and thicker, and thicker, and please, and thicker, and more. I'm
um,
full. I just finished eating, but then he waves those Five Guys Cajun fries in
oh
my
yeah,
face, and he's like, "Oh
that's good
yeah."
stuff. That's good stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. The Five Guys is definitely a go-to in the burger world and the fries.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, for $30.
oh my god, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
that's if you go there. But like if you look at like DoorDash or Uber, all that stuff, it's like
Hmm.
you'll be like $40 for a little cheeseburger
Right.
by the time you're done. Like it's
40,
ridiculous.
40 bucks and 95 cents, little
Yeah,
cheeseburger and bacon. And like, okay.
yeah, yep.
Yeah. And the
And
way
it's
that
probably
these
cold by the
two,
time it gets to you too. And yeah,
yeah, yeah. Then Cedric wants to order two or three, like wrapped in lettuce, so it's better
uh,
for him.
oh, it's
And yeah,
healthy
and then
now.
right, and then the little one, she doesn't want a little one. She wants a big one with
Yeah,
add bacon. And I'm like, and
yeah.
I'm just like, the only thing I can get from there is fries.
Have you ever seen those memes where it's like the mom or the dad and they're sitting in the car and they have like this huge spread of food and it's because they're like
Hmm.
the only time you get to order food by yourself and you don't have to order like $80 worth of food for everybody else. It's like your only moment of solitude. And they're just like in there just
Yes,
like going to town with the food. It's like
yes,
I understand. I understand that moment. Like
yeah.
why
I
can't I
have a
just spend
place
ten
that I
dollars?
right. I have a place that I like to go to myself because it does like a, oh, you get a cheeseburger and fries for like $13 or whatever. But it's like the best turkey burger I've ever had in my life. And I love going there by myself because, I'm like, they're like, oh, it's you again. Yes, it's me. I'm here for the turkey burger. But
I think that's the secret. You know, if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, or even if not, like sometimes just go by yourself to a breakfast, to a lunch, to a
mhm,
dinner, whatever it is, and just sit there and eat. Like it kind of like lets you reset a little bit and just
yes,
focus on whatever you need to focus on, and go back to your everyday, day to day
yes.
things you have to do.
I look at my
Um,
family. I'd be like, arrivederci, my
yeah,
dudes. I'm out of here.
yeah,
I'm going out. I'm going out with my girls. I'm going to Cooper's Hawk. I'm going somewhere.
yeah. Um, I have a couple more questions and then I'll let
Mhm.
you go. Any wrestling companies that you are currently watching? Is there any products that you consume now, or do you not watch much wrestling? Or
We do still watch like WWE. We still watch AEW. We still watch like the New Japan clips and stuff. We watch a lot of like indies, so DPW, Prestige, West Coast. Watch Ashe Wrestling, uh, Battle Club and stuff. So like we're still like keeping our eyes on everything.
indie wrestling is definitely where it's at. I'm a big
Hmm.
supporter of indie wrestling. Um, my son, he just got into wrestling a few years ago. He'll be 6 this year.
Hmm.
So watching him find his love for wrestling and me kind of watching him go through the strides that as you go through as a child, and you find out who you like or don't like, or what have you. It's
Right.
really cool to watch him get to pick who he likes or doesn't like, or just watching him have fun
Yeah.
watching wrestling. So it's pretty cool time. And I try to take him not every weekend but almost every weekend if I can to local indie shows, and he
Mm.
has a great time because it's that firsthand, you're right there, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's great. Is there any wrestlers that we should look out for, or that you have your eye on, that are big out there right now, that maybe we should know about?
Um,
Of course, Cedric
Starboy,
Alexander.
right? Starboy George. Is that his name? I can't. I think this is his name.
Charlie?
Starboy. Charlie. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Charlie. I don't know why I said
Where's the
George. I
where's
knew
the
it was an
overall?
old name.
That's his brother,
Overall.
George.
George, that's his brother. Yeah, Starboy George. Sure, yeah. Shout out to Starboy George. But I like watching his clips. It's very interesting because I love overalls myself. So I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool that he's wearing that. I like Maya's World, Jada Stone. Um, I love watching Man Like Reese. He reminds me of RG
Yes,
so much.
yes. I I love his entrance. My brother, he's like, I'm not really. I was like, bro, just come on, like,
come on.
yeah,
Come on.
like what? When I say 0-1, you say 2-1. You know what I'm saying? Come on, like, yeah, I love it. And he's one of those guys that's just now, I think, getting his flowers, so to say, because I heard him talking recently that he's been wrestling for a pretty long time, and people are like, who's this new guy? And he kind of is like getting a kick out of it, like, oh yeah, I'm the new guy,
Yeah.
So many of those cases where it's like you don't, people have no clue where someone comes from. Oh, this guy just started, It's like, come on, like, but yeah, so I appreciate you for coming on and taking your time to share your story and, Blaze it at the Bingo Hall with your boy Younglurch. But let the people know where they can find you, or anything that you have upcoming or anything that you want to plug. Please let the audience know. This is your handle down here, at least for Instagram. I'm not sure if it's the same on other platforms, but please let the people know.
Well, I still call it Twitter. So on Twitter, you can find me at Swole World. And of course, it's the Big Swole on Instagram and Swole World on TikTok. You can also catch me at Ashe Wrestling on June 26th at the Slingshot. And I will be there because, of course, Cedric's return. So I'll be on commentary, going crazy, per usual.
Do you always do commentary for them? Or is that something you just started recently?
I just started. So I was co-hosting, and then I did commentary for their Mania show in Vegas. And then Darius Lockhart, he told me, he was like, "You're what we're missing." He's like, "I love your commentary. You're funny." So he's like, "I want you. This is the area I want you to do. I want you to do this full time." So that's what we're working on right now. And
that's got to be like very exciting for you, because it kind of opens up a new door and a new avenue for you. But you're still in the same realm, but you also get to, like, not start over, but like see how far you can go with the commentary side. Like you said, maybe it might parlay you into becoming a manager.
Right. Exactly. You never know. So I figure as long as I'm doing something with wrestling, because that's where my heart is. I love it. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just like, I want to do something.
And you said that's June 28th that show's coming up?
Yes, it's 28th. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely look out for that if you guys are around and you can catch that show. That's in North Carolina?
It's Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys are close by, feel free to go by and check that show out. I'm sure it'll be a banger. But again, I just want to thank you for coming on, sharing your story, and anyone out there that, again, has suffered from Crohn's, might just be finding out, or anything in the family of IBD, diverticulitis, colitis. Hopefully this message can kind of help you a little bit, and maybe, ease the struggle a little bit of, what you're going through. So again, Big Swole, I appreciate you for coming on, and I'd love to have you back in the future if you ever like to come back and blaze it at the Bingo Hall with your boy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.